Hello, humans. Look who's back. You tried to shoot me down, American government. Sean Connery coming back, take me out. Matt Damon invading my caves. No, 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 no. Nobody can keep this lizard down. Ah, all right. Oh, we're just tweaking the audio settings here. How's everything sound for you guys? As we stream more, we'll get a little bit better at this, but my current radio transmission is it comes and it goes. We try to change a couple settings tonight. I basically just took a hammer to the goddamn thing, just beat on it. Can you imagine my scaly lizard hands holding a blunt instrument with salvaged UFO parts, beating on it, trying to get it to transmit to your Earth. Usually I manage to steal some content, watch maybe some Netflix, but the only content I've been able to get is Friends. Hundreds of hours of Friends. That's the only thing I can watch. I imagine this is a corner of hell that maybe I deserve. Anyway, all right. Okay, we have some good stuff tonight. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news, but things have been really picking up here. There is a UFO disclosure initiative that is coming together. It's quite surprising. We're gonna go ahead and play some clips from that just to kind of launch this off. Some of these places are better at this than I am, so we're just going to do a lot of reactions to this information. First, before we get started, if you're listening and you like this reptilian body, please like, comment, and subscribe. Is that the things the humans say all the time? Like, comment, and subscribe. So, yes, let's get into it. Let's see who's in the chat. Robert, thank you for joining us. Bailey, old time friend of the UFO podcast from Mike, good stuff. And Kyla, welcome back. I really enjoy your company. Shout outs to you guys. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, the reception from Mars is amazing. We definitely have upgraded that over time. And I managed to get a better connection. Yeah, so hopefully it looks pretty good. Look pretty crisp. Sounds excellent. All right, now let's get to some of this content here. We got we got all kinds of stuff here. Let's see which ones are the best. Oh, okay. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about these new UFO whistleblowers that have now approached Congress. They're getting ready to make their way into the zeitgeist. We also have we haven't got to keep tabs on these Mexican alien bodies, right? We got to talk a little about that and keep track of that. We also might have, if we have time, we might have some time for some bonus action here. But let's get into the whistleblowers with the UFOs. If you haven't heard about this one's a doozy. We're gonna go ahead and watch that, and then yes, let's get to it. So this is from The Hill right here. Yeah, I'm gonna get my reactions to this as well. There we go. The Hill. Slide that over, yeah. There you go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and play this video and see what we got here on the news. This is from The Hill. I recommend you subscribe to them. A lot of political stuff. I think they do a good job of not being biased. Maybe I'm wrong. They're pretty critical of goddamn everyone that I've seen so far, which is what you want to be, right? And so, yeah, it's a good one. They covered the UFO topic and a lot of other things pretty consistently. So let's get it started.
UFO whistleblower David Grush seems to have started a domino effect since Grush gave testimony to Congress in August about crashed spacecraft and, quote, non-human biologics. At least 30 other whistleblowers working for the federal government or government contractors have given testimony to the Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General, according to sources interviewed by Public.
Despite the growing number of whistleblowers, the intelligence community is still fighting disclosure, according to Public Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Thomas A. Monhelm, said that his office has not conducted any audit, inspection, and evaluation or review of alleged UAP programs within responsibility authority of the DNI that would enable a fulsome response. Author of the Public Substack, Michael Schellenberger, joins us now to discuss. Michael, welcome to the program.
I think someone might want to check this guy. I think he's reptilian.
Thanks for having me.
He's just got that look. Look at those lizard eyes.
So, Michael, this is garnering a lot of attention. We're hearing from more and more whistleblowers. Do you think this is going to lead for the government, the Pentagon in particular, to be more transparent on what they actually do know and how long they've maintained this information in private?
Well, I certainly hope so. I think that's the really big question. I mean, I think what's important to point out here is that, right after Grush's testimony in July, a lot of people said, he's one guy, he's relying on secondhand information. He hasn't actually touched any exotic materials or spacecraft. But now we have reports from multiple sources, including people that have had direct contact with these programs, telling us that indeed many of Grush's claims were accurate, including about the retrieved craft around reverse engineering programs. I would say there's still multiple possibilities here. I am agnostic myself. I do not know what is going on. There is a possibility, for example, that this is a kind of social contagion, a kind of effect of human unconscious that particularly impacts military intelligence folks. It's not inconceivable. The thing that's so strange, though, about it is this intense level of secrecy, which has actually increased in recent months. So it didn't even make it into the piece, but, they've been denying more freedom of information requests to the federal government, to the main person that requests, a guy named John Greenwald. That after during the hearing, Grush said, "I'll tell you where these retrieved craft are at specific bases or military contractors." They would not let him have a skiff or a kind of secure compartmentalized facility. And then now when our sources tell us, and some of them were in the piece, actually on the record, we're saying that we're seeing both the defense secretary and others start to kind of close up and try to basically oppose an amendment proposed by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, which would require that the contractors and others with any potential crashed materials return them. So, if it's a social contagion, if it's something, or if it's just even if it's just a Defense Department weapons program, there is supposed to be congressional oversight of secret weapons programs. So the level of secrecy that we're seeing, I think, is really unusual and concerning, including if it's just a social contagion.
Michael, can you tell us a little bit more about how we know that there are these 30 additional whistleblowers, and what, if anything, we know about who they are, where they work, what kind of security access they have, and what they might have been privy to, and potentially even the nature of what they've been disclosing?
Sure, and I should say that I don't have a firm count, and really what we're able to say are dozens. These are all individuals in the government or working for military contractors. These are all people in the know. I actually had more sources on this story than I had on my previous story, so I feel very confident that these people that are telling me this believe that they're telling me the truth. I don't think it's that surprising, really, that there's this many people, if you consider that this has been an issue that's been going on for 75 years, and people have not had a place to go to share this information. And so sometimes when people ask me, there's a lot of people that rightly wonder, why is this happening now? And maybe they're using this to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop or something like that, which is obviously an issue I am also concerned with. Um,
Apologies for that. I'm trying. I'm trying to find a. I want to draw when I talk so you can understand me better. And this drawing thing's talking all this smack. It's infecting my computer here on Mars. But anyway, pretty interesting stuff so far, right? Pretty awesome. This is a pretty mainstream YouTube channel. And let's look. I know you're curious. Let's see how much attention it's getting. 225K views. So we're going to look at a bunch of videos here talking about this news. We're going to run back. I will explain it in baby terms, get everyone all up to board on this, at least onto what I think is going on, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Then we'll bring it all back and we'll, I don't know, let's take some guesses. You guys can take some guesses. I can take some guesses on what's going on. So thank you for hanging out. If you're just joining us, we're talking about UFO whistleblowers. There's been some activity on Washington, D.C., and with UFOs and stuff. And if you're out of the loop, don't worry. I'll bring you in on the loop. We'll do it together. Feel free to ask questions. We're here to learn, right? We're here to learn and figure out. Well, don't you want to know what the hell's going on before you die? You know, are there aliens? Did they make us? Or what's going on here? You know, let's try and figure out these answers together. And these days, there's a lot of hot stuff going on. You don't want to miss it. You really don't. So again, if you're just joining us, like, comment, just subscribe, say hello in the chat, and we will follow up. I see all your comments in the chat, and I will we'll get back to that in a second. So thank you guys for joining us. And if you know this lizard from Mike's podcast, please in the chat just say lizard. I just one lizard will make my day. And it was always a good time to call us with Mike in my human form, but now you get me in my true form, my lizard form. But let's keep going with this.
Part of the answer is this internal process within the federal government where they've established these special protections for whistleblowers to come forward on this issue. As you know, the Inspector General is the office in different federal agencies that is a place where you are supposed to be able to go and not fear reprisal. The reality is often there is consequences for people going to those departments, but nonetheless, it's supposed to be confidential. It's supposed to be secure. Sheriff Michael, when he read the response from the Inspector General of the intelligence community, a guy named Thomas A. Monheim, it was a very strange letter because he sent it to one of the Congress people that had asked about this, about the whistleblowers. And Monheim said, yeah, there's no audit or evaluation, making it sound like they weren't looking into this. Well, of course, we know, I'm 100% sure that they are looking into this. I have very strong evidence that they are looking into this, but he left off his letter the word investigation. So he never said he wasn't doing an investigation. Well, that's not just a semantic point. Investigation is a whole department of his special office. So you see that, I mean, that's kind of, they're playing some games there, and you have to kind of ask, what is it that they're covering up? Now, sometimes I think people say, well, if it's a weapons program, they have to keep it secret. Maybe that's the case. But again, first of all, there's supposed to be congressional oversight over secret weapons programs. And second of all, sometimes the government actually hypes weapon programs that we don't have. The most famous example of this is Ronald Reagan's Star Wars program, or the Strategic Defense Initiative. They exaggerated the ability of that program to protect the United States from nuclear weapons coming in from Russia or other countries. So I do think there's a lot of unanswered questions still. I do think that, America does a pretty good job with checks and balances, and we do have a process in place. We have multiple places that these guys can go. It's not just, as we mentioned in the piece, that they can go to the Inspector General, but they can also go directly to Congress. And any whistleblowers listening to this should know this. You can go right to Congress, and then they can also go to this DOD office, although many of the people I spoke with did not have a lot of confidence that they were doing a serious investigation.
Michael, I want to go back to something you mentioned in terms of some of the critics saying, well, perhaps these are some type of weapons programs, advanced technology. I mean, right now we're sort of in this hypersonics race with China and Russia in terms of missiles, but also aircraft that can travel at Mach 5 and above. Some of the critics are saying, well, we don't want our adversaries knowing that the United States is working on this type of technology. Some have argued maybe we're working on anti-gravitational type of craft. We don't want individuals to know that we have that technology. What would you say to those critics who've tried to point those things out to sort of dispel some of the whistleblowers and to prevent others from potentially coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really legitimate argument because there have been efforts in the past, and we note in the piece a very famous incident where the Air Force Intelligence Service actually spread disinformation to UFO enthusiasts, um, ostensibly to cover up stealth weapons programs. There's also some evidence this may have occurred around the development of drones. That particular case was very irresponsible because they actually drove a person, or at least they contributed to a person having a mental breakdown in convincing him that he was somehow uncovering an alien invasion. It's a crazy episode depicted in this terrific book and movie called Mirage Men. That sort of activities are not supposed to be engaged in by U.S. intelligence anymore against the American people. They're not supposed to be engaged in that sort of deception or disinformation. I think there is experimentation with different forms of propulsion. You know, as somebody that works on energy and climate change, obviously, if we're developing forms of propulsion that are not from combustion and do not create greenhouse gases, that's massive. That would be a technology that you would want to spill out of the DoD eventually into the.
So let me address the elephant in the room, right? Let's talk about it. And I hear this all the time, and I see this in all comments all the time. All this UFO stuff is going on. Now, if you're in this chat, have an idea of the kind of person you might be, which is a good thing. You're a like-minded individual. You're a pursuer of truth. You take time to figure out the other side of the coin, right? You know? Oh, do you want me to do X? I think you're Y, right? That's the kind of thing. So, you see all this UFO stuff, and you wonder, am I about to get fucked? Is something about to happen? Are you up to no good, you naughty government? You know, this government never does anything to help me unless I make it. So, all this UFO stuff coming out. You know, all these guys these congressmen are sending all this material to the media, and the media is slobbering up. Now, I will say UFOs are hot. It's popular. So, maybe it's a media looking for demand, meeting demand. Okay, that's possible. But that's been pretty consistent this whole time. What we're seeing now is a pretty controlled push, right? It's something's going on here. Now, personally, I'm inclined to believe this story where there is a struggle to get things out and they're fighting old systems. But what I think it is let's say there's a group of us, 10 of us, and we control the UFO knowledge. Well, if 6 of us, if the cool guy in the room, the coolest Majestic 12 guy says, all right, it's time to come out, and other people don't agree with me, then this is how it would look. It would look like one faction fighting another, but both are on the same team. That is what I believe is happening. Some believe it should come out. Some believe it shouldn't come out. Like Terminal Arch says, there are 2 factions in my opinion. I believe there are lots of factions, but just like Republican, Democrat, lefty, righty, you end up just kind of eventually compiling onto one versus another team. So, you know, people who weren't allies 10 years ago. Now the propaganda internally in organizations are, ah man, the CIA. The CIA is cool. They get it done. Versus oh no, the NSA, those guys are we hate those guys. And I think that's what's going on. I think some people believe disclosure should happen, and disclosure shouldn't. And listen. Listen. Who's to say disclosure is a good thing? It might be a bad thing. Maybe they're right. Maybe as soon as a civilization says, hey, we're here. We know you're here too. They're like, okay, galactic law doesn't protect you anymore. And then all these evil aliens come down and start chomping at the bit, right? Maybe that's what happens. So maybe they were right. Maybe they were wrong. Nobody really knows. Just kind of like religions and what happens when you die. We don't know what's going to happen when disclosure happens. It's up to the ETs, right? Well, we're not dead so far. Not dead is better than being dead. So maybe just keep it how it is. Now, it could be better on the other side, but it could be far, far worse. So I see the argument for both. What I believe is that without disclosure, you're just living in an imaginary fairy tale. You're the kid who doesn't know that Santa Claus is real or not. So that's how you live your life. Your life's a lie. Currently the way we are, life is a lie. So you have to choose, are you willing to take the risk to live, at least get closer to the truth? And that could be a tough thing. So if you liked my little rant here, do you think it was kind of poetic or do you think it was stupid? Let me know. Again, get some lizards in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to continue with this human skin wearing lizard man here. This is The Hill. We're talking about UFO whistleblowers. 30 plus, excuse me, 30 plus whistleblowers secretly confirm. So there's a bunch of more whistleblowers that are about to come live here and start spilling the beans. This is part of it. We got some more content to get through. Oh no, I'm sorry, Kyla. No, Santa's real. Santa's up here. He's helping me conquer the earth to basically get a elf army to dominate, to destroy. We give gifts to lull humans, especially human children, indoctrinate them into our cult army. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm not saying Santa's not real. He's just evil and trying to conquer the planet. That's all I'm saying. No big deal. All right, let's keep going.
The world, because that would be a way to produce, that would be a way to have transportation, obviously, without creating combustion or carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. So obviously that would be a huge event. I mean, just a radical event like the invention of nuclear. I have not gotten the sense from anybody I've spoken to that we have mastered those propulsion techniques, although there was some. I did speak to one person that did see one of these famous triangles operating on a different form of propulsion. This person did not know whether it was a U.S. government created craft or whether it was from some other intelligence. So a lot of mysteries await, but yeah, I think that's a huge question, one that we have a lot more questions about than answers.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you mentioned that there were several avenues for whistleblowers to come forward and disclose to. One of those obviously could potentially just be directly to the media. What's your understanding of the disincentives for, let's say, the 30 or so people that you identified in your article who have already revealed themselves to have information about alien life, to not just come forward and tell the public directly if that information is being kept quiet by the government?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so we have seen now one case of it with David Grush, a person who did decide to go to the public with this and went through, I think what's interesting, I've dealt with now a fair number of whistleblowers. Grush really followed all of the rules very carefully. Not everybody is as careful about that. I think many people try to, but there is some complexity there, and you're also trying to protect your place at work. But certainly going public is the end of your career for, I think, these people, including Grush. And so they don't want to do that. I met with several people now, including in person, and I can tell you that their fear was genuine, and that I think it's very hard to fake the kinds of fear that I experienced. I think most of us know that most actors are pretty terrible at their jobs. Most acting is bad. It's hard to find lay people who are able to fake those kinds of emotions. So something scared them. We also did a report earlier, or back in the summer, actually, on the same day that Grush testified in July, about a very long history of people that report seeing UFOs or being whistleblowers on UFOs, reporting death threats or other kinds of threats, including threats to have their security.
Wow. Now, okay. Here's the thing. These people are saying these things. There's kind of like they're trying to make you a little scared. Did you notice that? Are you scared right now? Oh no, aliens. Oh no, the people killing people. That's a little bit negative. You know? I don't know. Are these things truly evil? Are aliens good or bad? Man, I know me and I know our reptilian empire, but let me ask you. You kind of like that's kind of like the real thing, huh? Are they good or are they bad? I don't know. I think I can only take if they're good, right? Like if all the other aliens are bad, god damn it, us humans have barely got our crap together. It would be nice if there was some good aliens that could tell us how to do stuff, right? Because down here we're just winging it. Oh, connection. Hello. There we go. That's better. We're back online. All right, this guy's kind of put me to sleep. So let's look at some other stuff here. Here we go. News Nation comes to the rescue. Let's take a look at News Nation here. Whoops. All right, here we go. And
the UFO conversation is slowing down in Washington, and tonight a bombshell report that shows the topic is really not going away anytime soon. Dozens more of government UFO whistleblowers have come forward to share information about UFOs to Congress, the Pentagon, and the inspectors general. UFOs were once really a taboo topic, but it's now a pretty serious issue. A report by Public reveals at least 30 whistleblowers working for the federal government or government contractors have given testimony or a protected disclosure to the Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General, the Defense Department Inspector General, or to Congress over the last several months. They've come forward with statements reportedly similar to UFO whistleblower David Grush, who first spoke to News Nation.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And even UFO.
you know what's important about this scene? You got an older woman that looks like a model to do it. Isn't that important? All right. If you had some disheveled guy with long hair and a neck beard ask this question, you'd be like, what the hell? Instead, I don't know who this is. Left, right, I don't have a preference. I'm just saying, it's a good looking human female. She looks like she's got her stuff together. She's got like her hair is nice permed. And she's got her glasses, so she's smart, right? She's a smart person. This is Miss Mace. All right. It's important that she asks this question. This is how they do things. They did it on purpose. Watch your trust.
Whistleblower David Grush, who first spoke to News Nation.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to.
You know who this is? It's Beard Guy. And do you know who this is? This is George Knapp. All right. So let me get a little intro here. Hello, everyone in the chat. If you're just joining us, like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to break down the 30 whistleblowers thing and kind of roll it back to where we are. If you've already heard this before, sorry. If you're kind of new to the UFO stuff, you want to know what's going on, here's basically what's been going on. Even before Trump was elected in office, there was an initiative for Congress became aware of the secret UFO program. Something that was like above the president kind of secret, which is not legal. So Congress starts snooping around. Old presidents start snooping around. This has been a long time coming. Bill Clinton, Stephen Greer can be a little dry at times, but he covers this really well. So they're like, is this stuff really real? So eventually, all these whistleblowers kind of come out, whatever. All this kind of info, it gets enough momentum, and it gets enough important congressmen, kind of people interested, senators, CIA heads, that they start putting together a plan to kind of have this come public. And part of the plan is to get this to the media. So the New York Times UFO thing breaks, and they start trickling things out. They're fighting over the crazy media cycle of Donald Trump and protests, riots, all kinds of stuff, COVID, all kinds of stuff. So this was started a while before that. This is wanted to be done years ago, and they're trying to get this out. And so they try to do it officially. As soon as they start doing officially, the Pentagon starts blocking all the like we said in the chat. And you guys are absolutely right. You've done a great job of keeping up with the issue. There are multiple factions, and some factions want out, some factions don't. So more and more stuff has come out. This guy, David Grush, came out and said straight up, he was like a pretty high-level official. We have these programs. We have crashed UFOs, and there's a bunch of people who've been in these programs. But I don't have any direct evidence. So there's not been a single UFO picture of an alien or a UFO or a vehicle that we can 100% confirm. Okay, that has not yet happened. But this guy says it's basically all these, there's enough evidence that it's probably true. Okay, that's basically what he says. And he's very high level. So now, just recently, yesterday, came out the news is that there are 30 plus more whistleblowers coming forward because Congress is passing legislation that makes it easier to come forward. So if you come forward and you know 5 other people that are in the program, then Congress can reach out to those 5 people directly and then make them lie or tell the truth to Congress. Lying to Congress is not legal. So there are a lot of things going on here. Congress is using its powers to snuff this out. Now, is this a false flag, alien invasion kind of thing? I don't know if you've heard that before, but, I won't get into that specifically. If you're probably here, you're a little bit more well-versed with that kind of thing. But is this something that can, is this a ruse? Possibly. Maybe the gatekeepers decided it's time to let it free. Maybe the military needs another excuse to drop bombs, but in space this time so they can get money. Or is this like someone who kept it secret for a while to profit off it, and they're all dead now? George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. Sorry. Well, I don't know what keeps George Bush Sr. George Bush, the Bushes. Oh, my God. What's wrong with me? Anyway, so, 30 plus people, Robert says in the chat, makes it more credible, 100%. Now, so that's where we are. Just a quick update. This is a new update on those 30 plus people. I haven't seen some of this, so we're just going through this. Before we continue, I'm going to read from the chat. Yeah, some people are, the secrecy has been so effective for so long. I think a lot of these older people that manage to keep it under wraps don't understand technology. I think technology, there's a window right now where technology can take us to the heavens or take us to the depths of hell, right? As well as you guys as a human race. And so, I don't know. I think this is a win. This is a win for humanity. The general people are able to grab a hold of the government, a part of the government that's in super secret for 70 plus years. Grab that bitch and hold it down and start getting some answers. I think that's something that we can all be proud of. And then you guys can get those UFOs and come get me.
That are currently still on the
I'm stuck here on Mars. It sucks.
program.
And even UFO skeptics like Mick West, who's also been on this show, note the
Mick Best, stupid head.
importance of more people coming forward. He said, quote, it'd be very interesting, more people saying the same things independently makes it more likely to be true. But Inspector General Thomas A. Monheim denied investigating these UFO claims, writing, as a matter of discretion, ICIG notes that it has not conducted any audit, inspection, evaluation, or review of alleged UAP programs within the responsibility and authority of the DNI that would enable this office to provide a fulsome response to your questions. Dozens of whistleblowers giving testimony is not evidence of extraterrestrial life, and it's likely not part of a U.S. government disinformation campaign, though no one really knows for sure. That's part of the problem. It's part of a growing conversation about what's out there. The report follows the federal government quietly releasing a bunch of new videos that supposedly contain UFOs. And I don't know if quietly releasing these things is a step in the right direction, but it's better than nothing, that's for sure, because nothing from the government has definitely fueled distrust. The lack of transparency is something Dan has brought up on the show before, and now with dozens of government UFO whistleblowers allegedly giving testimony and a bunch of new alleged UFO videos coming out from the federal government, from CBP actually, they're the ones who released it, Border Protection. What happens now? Joining me is Michael Schellenberger, the investigative journalist who published that public piece today. Michael.
Oh no! Oh no, he's back. How did he do this? No. I've never seen this before. We can't escape this guy. Oh, that's pretty funny, right? Like we were watching another stream, we were kind of complaining, and like, let's go, guy is so more interesting. Damn it! All right, you got us, you lizard man.
Well, thank you for being with us. Really, really incredible reporting that took this to the next level. For us to now know that 30 more whistleblowers have come forward and spoken to the Pentagon or to the Inspector General or to Congress. Do we have any indication of what they've said?
Hey, good to be with you, Brian. Yeah, I think it's an interesting story we did today. We spent a lot of time on it, a lot of time working on it, interviewed a lot of people, multiple sources, more sources even than my previous story. And pretty persuasive that really at least dozens of people have come forward as whistleblowers. They are making claims that are as dramatic as the claims that Grush made to Congress and also to News Nation. The basic story of there being a crash retrieval program, reverse engineering program. As we point out in the story, we're not saying that this is proof of extraterrestrials or non-humans. We also point out that there has been government disinformation, including claiming that there are extraterrestrials, not just in.
All right, I'm gonna steal that. It's Kyla says it's not the same guy. It's the same skin. He looks kind of creepy with that smile. Yeah. Look. We're just being haters, okay? All right, I'm sorry. But those were good. Those were. What do you humans say? Oh, it's like it's hot. It's burning. It's fire. Those were fire jokes. Nah, they're burning jokes. They're all on fire. But yeah, all right, good ones. We'll be nice.
In dismissing reports, and we point out that there's actually still a lot of secrecy and that there's resistance to more openness. You mentioned the Inspector General of the intelligence community, Thomas Monheim, had said to Congressperson Burchett and Luna that they were not doing an audit or kind of looking into it in a letter that made it sound like they were.
What the hell? That thing looks like it's from Halo. You see that? Look at that. What's that thing? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Here, look. Just turn them down. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. What the hell? Does that thing look like an eye from some Japanese comic? See it? What the heck is that?
We're not doing an investigation, and that may seem like semantics, but actually it refers to a very specific part of the job, which is to do investigation. So they could be doing an investigation, but not really being open or transparent about it. So, you know, I think if this is a social contagion, which is definitely a possibility, or if it's
With secrecy, what happens is people who know, they write it down, and then no one cares. And then they get away with it. Look, like Doombot says, it's not real until it's on TV. Right? Basically, if it's not in the news, if it's not propaganda, then it isn't part of my reality. Average UFO, the average person. It is what it is. Until an alien personally blows up your house or takes you to the promised land. Either way, good, bad, it's not real until it interacts with me or my government through the official channels says it's okay to believe in it. Crazy world we live in.
if it's disinformation or if it's something else, there's still a lot of secrecy and still a lot of people pushing to keep this a secret, which ironically just makes people more curious.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on
security clearances revoked or their jobs lost, or just the stigmatization and ostracization that came from people being ridiculed or being accused of being crazy or participating in a hoax. So I think there's a huge amount of fear. People that I spoke to, I mean, it was absolutely off the record, deep background. I've taken great care never to refer to people's, gender identity or what agency they're at, or whether they're with a contractor or even with the government. And obviously, I've been trying to be as specific as I can to provide the details that I think are in the public's interest, but also to protect these folks who are absolutely terrified. And these are people that are ostensibly under these whistleblower protections.
I mean, Michael, I think for most of our viewers, that fear that you speak of career suicide, considering how powerful the government is palpable for most people watching. But I want to get a little more into the weeds here, Mike, in terms of what these new whistleblowers are claiming and or confirming. You write, testimony has included both firsthand and secondhand reports of crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs by U.S., Russian, and Chinese governments, the testing of materials obtained from retrieved craft, active and ongoing government disinformation operations, kinetic military action with UAPs, contact and collaboration with non-human intelligence, and the successful reverse engineering of a triangular-shaped craft with unconventional propulsion. And that sort of gets to, Mike, what I was saying earlier about the type of technology that we may or may not be having. Like you just said, if we have this technology, where in the world did we get it from, even if we haven't mastered it yet?
Yeah, well, so I laugh a little bit when you read that paragraph, and I hesitated to include it in the article because it's so outrageous and absurd. And you, as any independent thinker, you have to assume the chances are as good of that being not that any of those things not being the case as being the case. And so what you're dealing with here and what we're reporting and not making judgment on is that this is what people are telling us. And it's not, these are not, people in psychotic states. These are people in very high positions of authority, in positions to know, well confirmed, don't appear to have any interest in sharing this. which kind of leaves you with one possibility is that it's, like I mentioned, it's a social contagion. It's psychogenic in some peculiar way that affects a certain group of people. You know, I'm going to write an article kind of laying out the best case for a psychogenic explanation for this. Obviously, again, the biggest problem with that explanation is just the government secrecy, because if it were just all in people's heads, you could say, or if it were just some sort of a social phenomenon, the way you get rid of that is to have greater openness and transparency, and you allow people to talk about it. You open up the doors to the bases and the defense contractors, and you kind of go, look, there's nothing to see here. Or you might say, sure, of course, we've got secret weapons programs going on, and everybody knows that, and there's just things that we can't reveal to you because it's better for the public not to know. Those aren't the behaviors that we're seeing, and that's, I think, what's so odd about this. But yeah, I mean, look, I think what's so weird about the experience and what you laugh about it is that it seems like the stories that we're hearing are some of the wildest kind of conspiracy theories that we'd been hearing for a really long time, and you don't know what to make of it. I think it's important I report on it because I think people have a right to know, but it's hard not to kind of discount it pretty significantly, obviously, until we get to the bottom of this. But yeah. I did also, I'll end by just noting that I quoted, I think maybe the most important skeptic on this issue, or at least one of the most prominent skeptics, a person named Mick West. And he said, we need to get to the bottom of this. So there's ostensibly a big divide between UFO believers and UFO skeptics. But I do think that what you find is actually that the UFO skeptics want to get to the bottom of this. They want transparency. They want disclosure just as much as the believers do.
Michael Schellenberger, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Michael.
A couple things you just hit on that I want to get to. But first, it's that conversation of sort of this push and pull that we're seeing between the push for more transparency, but then government officials or government bureaucracy, you know, having that concern over national security. You said something in remarks after the hearing that I want to read. You said, quote, "My hope is that we got to get some more transparency. That's really the hope for me. This is about government transparency. I'm all for protecting national security, but that can't just be a shield to deny."
I keep squinting my eyes, hoping to make sense of the picture at the back. Oh, you're talking about News Nation?
Proceed, and that there's
definitely fueled.
I see what you mean. You're talking about this thing, huh? Maybe there's a secret message in there. I am Blizzard, something like that. Eh? All right, let's watch another one here. So, how do you guys feel? Let me hear what you guys think. What do you guys think? Do you think this is bullshit? Do you think this is historic? Do you think it's a nothing burger? Do you think it's BS? Let me hear what you guys think. You know, if you want my opinion, I could share it, but I'm just guessing like the next human, even though I'm a lizard. It's been great having you guys. I'm streaming more again. I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you want me to do planned content, more like deliverables, I'll keep getting better and better at that, and you can let me know how that is. And if you want that kind of stuff, please request it. If you want more streams, let me know. I'm kind of open. You know, I'm gonna look at what you guys like, the metrics and everything, but we'll be streaming more. We'll be growing the audience, and I don't think this kind of thing is going away. So I'll be around to cover all this stuff, help you make sense of it. We can make sense of it together. And I'll be covering other stuff. We got all kinds of things I want to talk about. Everything from remote viewing to trolls to Sasquatch to Krakens, secret meetings to conspiracies, JFK. Some JFK news came out recently. All kinds of stuff. So if you guys want me, I'll be here. This lizard. But let's listen to a little bit of this guy. This is great. This is 3AW Melbourne, and he is working with Ross Coulthart, who's a very educated journalist. So we'll watch a little bit of this when we skip around, and then we can get to the bonus content or kind of wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining. Please like, comment, subscribe. The more activity I see, the more I'll be here. Thanks again.
Are we alone? Are we
That's a
the
question.
only
That's a
intelligent
question.
species?
That's a question, Ross. What's the answer?
That's a very good question. Actually, I personally think there's an extremely high probability that we are not alone as an intelligent species in this universe, and I also think, from the sources that I speak to, there is a preponderance of evidence to suggest, at least prima facie, that we should assume that we are being visited by a non-human intelligence.
You see, I asked the question deliberately. You would be one of the world's foremost independent experts, a journalistic expert in this area. And what you believe really matters, because most of us just look around the edges. You've seen source material, you've interviewed people. What has got you to that stage where you're convinced of it?
I guess I should roll back. I finished working in mainstream media about 4 or 5 years ago, and I looked around and I thought, what is the most taboo, stigmatized subject in the media that we look at? And one, of course, is suicide, but the other that I've always been intrigued in is UAPs and unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UFOs, as they're more popularly known. And I decided to do the basic concept of investigative journalism and apply it to UAPs, because to my great surprise, nobody had ever done that before. And I realized when I met one guy called Nat Kobitz, who was the Director Science Technology Development for the US Navy, he rocked my foundations. He literally said to me he was dying from cancer, and knowing that he was about to pass from cancer, he was extraordinarily candid. And he said to me, Ross, we are aware of a non-human intelligence. There are crash retrievals, multiple crash retrievals. And he told me that he had been briefed, read in to the security protocols that allowed him to know about this. And he then introduced me to people who I believe have a direct knowledge of and involvement in what is euphemistically called the program. And through those people, I met more people. And pretty soon, as you'd know, Neil, as a journalist, you reach a conclusion based on a preponderance of evidence. I appreciate I'm dealing largely, with the exception of Nat, with off-the-record sources, or sources that cannot be attributed or cannot be named. But I have convinced myself that there is sufficient evidence to at least believe that a large number of people in the US military and intelligence community and private aerospace believe very, very strongly that the world is being visited by non-human intelligences, and moreover that the United States and other countries have actually recovered non-human technology.
Why the cover-up? Why the secrecy? Is it a fear of panic? Is it a fear that we don't want to know because we can't do anything about it? Why the cover-up?
I think there are multiple reasons. I think it's a bit like an aircraft crash. There's never one reason. I think that the first primary reason that initiated in the 1950s was a fear that the very religious world would be upset. You know, this was a period in history where people were very religious. They were confronted by the idea of an equivalent intelligence, if not an advanced intelligence. And I think for them, they were fearful that it would be an ontological shock to a large number of deeply religious people. But that humanocentric view of the world, I think, has gone into decline a bit in the last few years. And I think the real reason that's at the heart of this is, knowing as I do from the sources that I've spoken to, that the United States definitely has recovered technology, I think that there is a Cold War battle underway for the attempt to try to replicate that technology, to reverse engineer it. This has been going on since at least the end of World War II, incredibly, and it hasn't been very successful, but the Americans are aware that the Russians have got similar technology, and so have the Chinese, and I think it's suited everyone to keep it quiet. But I don't think it's going to stay quiet for much longer. I think there is a slow realization, at least in Washington, that a country like the United States, that has so much accountability and transparency controls in its government, that there have been acute failures of oversight inside the Congress. There have been lies told. There's been crimes committed, illegalities to conceal this program. And Congress is now demanding answers. They're now saying, we want to know what is going on, and we're insisting that we be brought up to speed with the real situation.
Have you seen anything that convinces you of this, or are you going on second-hand reports?
This is why I'm not 100% that I mean, there is always the remote possibility, however remote, that this is some kind of advanced psyops operation by an advanced arm of US propaganda designed to impress upon America's potential adversaries that they've got something up their sleeve that they don't want to reveal, but they want them to know about. There's always that possibility. But the unique way that I did my research was I was fearful that if I used
Good stuff. Yeah, check out Ross Coulthart. I think we'll start chopping. You know, I watch a lot of what's going on. I keep trying to keep track. What I'll start doing is clipping things that are pretty interesting and bring them together. I'll be like your news within the news. You know, I'll try and keep track of the most important stuff and get it to you in a quicker manner. So we'll work on that. Get that going here on our Reptilian YouTube channel, Ask Reptilian. So, yeah, interesting stuff. What do you guys think? You know, I asked you, what do you think of what's going on right now? Let me scroll through comments, see what we got here. Here we go from Robert. I think it is looking more and more likely, but also it seems like it could bring a lot of funding to certain agencies in the government. It makes it seem like possible disinformation. I did hear once that the Pentagon, one of the senators that are pushing this to come forward, was saying that the Pentagon was trying to milk this. Basically, they were trying to make it as slow as possible, slow of a disclosure. You get funding to investigate these UFO. What are these UFOs? We need to investigate. Give us millions of dollars, right? It's like starting the job, you know, charging early. So instead of only charging like 10,000, you know, you have to charge them for the very beginning. So that's 20,000. You just drag it out as long as you can. And that's what it seemed like a lot of these guys did. So yeah, good stuff, good videos, good comment. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I just wanted to kind of cover this topic. Thank you guys for joining us. Some really good content out there, right? Some good stuff. We got some interesting news going on all the time. I'll be here, your local lizard, keeping track of this issue. In the meantime, I will plan on destroying the planet. That's what I'm shooting for here. So, thanks for joining us, humans. You will become aware of my invasion soon. Until then, this is your friendly neighborhood lizard signing off. Like, comment, subscribe for more news. I'll keep you informed. Next time we're going to talk about some alien Mexican bodies updates, right? And then before that, we can do other stuff. Thank you, Kyla, Joe Scutch, Robert, and Doombot for joining our chat. Good seeing you guys. And I'll catch you later. This lizard's going to bed. Good night.